Hey there! So today we have another review. This is another fun beer that I picked up at GV's Bottle Shop. The crazy releases that they're doing, and this is out of Nashville, Tennessee, and this is Southern Grist, famous, awesome New England style IPA producer. But this is Imperial Balaton. I was picking out a bunch of the beers, and he's like, "What do you have to recommend?" He recommended this one, and what is it?
Balaton Raspberry.
Okay, so this is an Imperial Sour. I suspect don't leave this out in your car. It's more.
I'm just going to go ahead and say right off the bat that I'm really living for this
7.3%
hazy color.
Fruited lactose sour brewed with Balaton and raspberry puree. So.
Oh, I'm excited for this. We probably should have rolled it since there's raspberry puree. Didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Got a little bit of that in there too.
Oh yeah. Probably looks a little bit darker now.
Yes.
Beer comes in a almost like purplish kind of color.
Yeah, this is like almost like a dark fuchsia.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. I'm not good with colors. And
wonderful looking beer.
I don't even have to put my nose to the glass, and I can already smell like the the bitterness, the sourness, whatever. Raspberry, sherbet,
Yogurt.
How do you actually say that?
Sherbet.
No, sherbet.
Sherbet.
There's no R. Or wait. Yeah, there's no second R.
It smells quite nice. A lot of rich fruit character. Nice Greek yogurt to it.
Yeah, this is...
A lot of those raspberry seeds to it.
It's like a little raspberry poot in a glass.
And the cherries in here, right? Balaton cherry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really nice kind of like rich cherry, which is different from Balaton. This is Balaton, and my warranty is different.
Yeah, you definitely get some like sour cherry.
Yeah. If I'm remember correctly, Balaton is more of that kind of like fruit pie kind of thing, whereas warranty is generally a little bit more like pie. No, not pie, but like almond notes and like a little bit kind of like complex.
It's like a tart cherry type thing. Cool. Excited.
Cheers.
So fun little fact about me. I used to hate sours. At least I thought I hated sours. My problem was I was drinking all the wrong sours because they all tasted like stomach bile throw up to me.
This is devoid of those flavors.
This is.
I get little hints of that sometimes with these sours. I'm out of that one.
This one is like the ideal sour for me, and
very good.
It's nice and thick. It's not watery.
Rich, sweet.
Yeah, it's very rich.
The cherry raspberry combined very well into just like pulpy, pure fruit flavor. The city is just at a really beautiful place. Like I love where it's at.
This reminds me of like wild raspberries. Yeah. Wild blackberries.
The beer tastes a lot like fruit versus fruit puree plus a sour beer underneath.
Yeah. This is a really fun and interesting beer.
Good. Yeah.
So you definitely obviously get the raspberry. You definitely obviously get like tart cherry. There's also like blackberry. There's also... Wow. Dare I say, so my grandparents growing up had these wild grapes up in Michigan that grew on an arbor.
Tart grapes.
And wild grapes, I don't know if you know, they are extremely sour. Grapes don't really get sweet until the first frost, but up in Michigan, by the time you get the first frost, the grapes are already off the vine, they're on the ground and they're gross and you don't want to eat them, or the birds have already eaten them or whatever. So this reminds me of that. They would just be really tart. We would eat them in the fall or the summer, whenever the heck they ripened. This is a really fun, without being too overly complex. This is a really fun sour for me.
What's your final impression rating on this one?
Final impression rating. I enjoy the roller coaster ride that this is taking me on. So let me describe it. Okay, so first moment that it hits your mouth, you start getting that fruitiness. By the time you swallow it, You get the bitter, or I'm sorry, the tartness of the sour, and then there's definitely some like bready, crackery, malty flavors going on, like oyster crackers, like unsalted oyster crackers. Um, this is a really fun take on a sour. I think this is rather crushable because it's not too overly tart.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not trying to prove something with this, you know.
But it's very sour.
It is, but it's not like overly tart in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think I've had some really tart sours that are just like it's too much, you know. And this is like they're not really trying to prove anything. It's evidently a sour and it's evidently fruity and you know, it's good. I think that they really chose some really good flavors to put into this final rating. Oh crap, that's gonna be hard. Dare I say this is actually probably the best sour I've ever had.
Yeah. Wait, you're talking about kettle sours?
In general.
We had that like mixed fermentation or not, like spontaneous beer.
Okay.
Okay.
I like this one. I like this one a lot.
Okay.
I'll say it's one of my favorites then.
Okay.
I
mean, it's my opinions. I don't care.
Yeah. No, my opinion is this is probably my favorite. If not, definitely one of my favorite sour beers that I've had.
For sure. Probably one of the best we've had.
Man, I wish we had another can of this because this is good. This is a...
It's sold out.
I know. I imagine.
Very, very good.
Can I give this a 95?
You want to?
95, 96,
Sure.
somewhere in there. Say like A.
8A plus, yeah.
8A plus, yeah.
This is absolutely fantastic. I think the flavors in here are absolutely really well integrated. The fact we didn't mention there's lactose in here, so
Yeah.
it's
You get that. You get
yeah.
the yogurty thing.
What they might have done is that the beer might have been a little bit too tart, so the lactose helps mouthfeel and help back sweeten the beer just a hair. It's a beautiful point where it's not a lactose sour. One of those weird, like, slushy or whatever the weird words they use where they're trying to dessert up a beer. This really tastes like pure fruit with a really acidic, simple kettle sour. So what I mentioned to you is like, what is the best sour? Obviously there are mixed fermentation beers that have combination of, Acetobacter, Lactobacillus, Hediococcus, and or Brettanomyces in these beers. They're barrel fermented. These are long, complex beers. Versus this is a kettle sour. This is a generally, some people consider an easier beer to make, but to make this kind of beer well executed is still something to be pleased. It's like it's well made, and the flavors are great. It really tastes like an awesome combination of those fruits. Those fruits really meld well together. I find the acidity to be perfect in the sense that it is a sour beer. A lot of beers can be tart. This is sour, but not too bracingly sour, where like the beer sort of like destroys your palate.
Or you get like that aching in your jaw, or
which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it works with the fruits here and everything in here. I just really like, and I think this is arguably the best kettle sour I've had ever.
For
the
sure,
rich
it is the
fruit
best
in those are
kettle.
great. They're lush, and dense, and the acidity comes at the right point, and it doesn't come off too weedy on the back end. This for me gets a 96.
Don't wake the baby.
96. It is absolutely fantastic. For kettle sours, I don't think this arguably gets any better from what I've tried.
Right. No, for sure. Like
Imperial
Super
Balaton
good.
Raspberry. It's on the Grist. You guys killed it. This is fantastic. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Later.